India is already the smartphone factory for the world. We are the second largest manufacturer in the world. 300 billion is only the first step. The real step is to become the world's leading electronic manufacturing nation.
Welcome to TOI Business Bytes. What will it take to make India a leading electronics and smartphone manufacturer of the world? Chatting up with us on the Make in India and Make for World journey is Pankaj Mohindroo, the ICEA chairman. Welcome to the show, sir. So, what is it going to actually take for India to be the smartphone factory of the world? And I mean, not just in terms of assembling of smartphones, but also in terms of proper manufacturing, exporting, everything. And which are the players you see contributing in a major way in this?
India is already the smartphone factory for the world. We are the second largest manufacturer in the world in volume, with over 250 million smartphones being produced here. Overall phone production is over 300 million phones. So we are already the smartphone factory of the world. Exports have grown very rapidly. Last year we crossed 90,000 crores
Right.
of exports, which was 100% growth over the previous year. This is from a period when 78% of mobile phones used to be imported
Right.
for use in India. So it's been a absolute paradigm shift. Looking ahead, we want to hit approximately $100 billion of production
Okay.
in the next 3 years, which is about 8 lakh crores. From the current level of 350,000 crore, it's a growth of almost 120%. And most of it, the growth will come from exports.
Okay.
Exports should be hitting about 350,000 crores by 26. Assembling of smartphone is not a child's work. It's very complex, especially when you are doing very complex mobile phones.
Right.
And mobile phones have almost more than 1,000 parts. So the architecture of smartphones is that you have the final assembly and testing. Then you have sub-assemblies which go into the product or which go as accessories or enhancements. Now the structure which has been built is that the first level beyond mobile phone assembly, which is chargers, battery packs, headsets, mechanics, camera module, display assembly, all of this is being done in India.
Right.
A lot of it is being in that. We still do some import, but a lot of this is being done in India. So the architecture for now and for the future is to build a very strong export pipeline and make it very competitive, make the industry very competitive so that we do not have any challenge as far as imports are concerned. The supply chain should be very smooth and seamless.
Right.
And cost effective.
Right.
So it's a growth at the top and a growth from the bottom.
Okay, the entire industry ecosystem is evolving.
That's
okay.
right.
And in terms of smartphone manufacturers, which are the players that you see playing the maximum role in the export growth?
There used to be a question: who is manufacturing in India? Now that's no longer the smart question. Now the
Right.
question is: who is not manufacturing in India?
Right.
So everybody is giving the due share of manufacturing here. Of course, the most valuable company, Apple, is a leading exporter from India.
Right.
And we are very grateful for that they have chosen to make India their manufacturing destination and exporting so vigorously from here.
And in this entire growth story, how has the PLI scheme played a role, and what else still needs to be done on the policy front?
The PLI was very important because we had reached a plateau as far as serving the domestic market was concerned.
Right.
By 2018-19, we were producing almost the entire requirement of the country. But to compete globally, you have to be competitive.
Yes.
You have to be most competitive.
Okay.
Now, the PLI is hand-holding the industry for some time, and the vigorous drive is towards mitigating disabilities now. On the labor front, we need a lot of reform, which has to be in line with all what the major destinations are doing. And these are reforms which are not something which is revolutionary or destabilizing for the labor. This is just recognizing that electronics, which is a wonderful environment, air conditioned environment, is no longer the same kind of arduous manufacturing which used to be there in the olden times. And Indian laws have to keep pace with that. The tariff regime, which was built for import substitution, is no longer relevant. I think that needs a radical reform because, as I told you, we have to have very smooth supply chain. These are global value chains. We have to have a very smooth and competitive supply chain and focus on export. So that is how you create competitiveness for the country and not by imposing high tariffs and so on.
So on the semiconductor space, sir, India is looking to build some sort of a self-reliance there in going ahead. So how do you see that panning out?
It's a core, fundamental, foundational industry.
Right.
We cannot do without semiconductors.
Right.
We have to acquire capabilities. We have to have capabilities in semiconductor product design, which I think is a natural and a very important progression for India. Then packing. And packing is not simple that you're just packing something.
Right.
It's a very highly technical and complex exercise. And then in fabrication also.
Right.
We have to build our capabilities in that. This is not some sort of, there is a very major thrust from Government of India and we are very supportive of that. Already big scale has developed as far as smartphones are concerned.
Right.
The same kind of scale we have to build in all other verticals,
right,
which is IT hardware, laptops, desktops, tablets, hearable wearables, consumer electronics, and all other electronics like LED, auto electronics, industrial electronics, strategic electronics. This will, the vast scale and the massive scale of the final product and the sub-assemblies will create a very big market for semiconductors in India.
Okay.
I think you've already seen the announcements of packing from Micron.
Yes.
I think we'll see more announcements down the road. ICEA has worked very diligently and we have come out with some prescriptions. Most of our inputs are on the semiconductor product design, this thing, and how do we provide good domestic cushion for demand for the upcoming industry. So these are two things we are focusing on.
So you spoke of how we are looking to be leading manufacturers in a lot of verticals simultaneously, whether it is for smartphones where we've already achieved a lot of success, or whether it is for electronics, semiconductors, a lot of things. So what are the individual challenges in all of these verticals that you see that we really need to address for us to move to that big scale?
I think the principal challenge is the change of mindset. That has to percolate across, that we no longer are a weak nation looking at import substitution. We want to export to the whole world and we want to become a dominant force in manufacturing.
Right.
So 300 billion is only the first step. The real step is to become the world's leading electronic manufacturing nation.
Right.
And the change of mindset, then, I think a very, very important criteria is that we have improved a lot on ease of doing business. I think there is a vigorous exercise going on. All the departments are involved in it. But I think India needs to do a lot more in that, especially in interpretation of indirect tax laws and direct tax laws. I think that is a cause of discomfort to existing players and also future players. In fact, Micron expressed very serious concerns about this, and now they have the confidence because that confidence has been given by the Honorable Prime Minister himself and our Honorable Minister, Ashwini Vaishnav. So, but I would say these are things which need much more work to be done on.